Well, my wife keeps me humble, for sure. Look, I recognize my faults. I mean that movie changed people's lives. Not just people who watched it. I mean, people who were working on it, whether it's Eugenio moving to the U.S. and becoming a star and his career taking off, whether it's Pantaleon, which goes from this little company, we don't know if it's going to survive, right? Should we shut it down? Should we stay at this? Like, what's really the potential to, okay, now what?
It's the introduction to you guys.
Yeah. We had a Netflix deal where we were selling our movies to Netflix. And the Netflix deal expired. And Netflix wanted to pay us half of what they were paying us, which wasn't really enough to sustain the business. And so we said no. And we shopped for another deal. We talked to HBO, we talked to Showtime. There weren't very many streaming services at the time, just Netflix. And we talked to Stars. This is before Lionsgate even had bought Stars. We were trying to find a home for these movies to pay us. And we were getting close, like, it's, it was kind of like, we want to get that audience, but I don't know.
You say you're 16, you're not ready to stop.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't think it'll be that, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know yet. I'm taking my time.
So I'm curious because at the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned you were the difficult child of your family. Why? And do you have siblings?
Yeah, so I have two brothers, one older and one younger. Well, why? I'm not sure. I think you're born that way. How? Maybe a better. How was I difficult? I always wanted to have my way. So if I didn't get my way, I would throw a temper tantrum. And if so, in addition to wanting to have my way, if I got an argument, I always had to have the last word, which got me in trouble with my father sometimes. But it just, every kid is different. And maybe it's being the middle child and you're out trying to get attention in some way. I don't know. But and having two kids myself, you are who you are when you're born. And personality is there. It's really amazing when you see it from that perspective.
Middle child. That's funny. Yeah. Okay. Who inspires you?
Today or in my life? That's a really good question. Well, it's something you got to think about, right? And it's not like, it's, this. My family for sure, and my boys. They inspire me. John Feldheimer, who's the CEO of Lionsgate and a mentor to me, has been a huge inspiration in my career.
Why?
You have to have champions, people who champion you, and he did from an early period in my career. I don't really know what he saw in me and why he championed me, but he likes having entrepreneurial executives and gives them the freedom to be entrepreneurial, which in a lot of places is not there. You have a job. This is your job. Don't get out of your lane. This is your job. And when we're talking earlier about, the path of my career, I get bored in situations where I'm constrained. Yeah. And I to a fault, I think, and again, we'll go back to who inspires me, but to a fault, I think I'm always looking for something, the next thing, the next deal, the next, what can we do differently? The next business, so even, when we're running Pantaleon, I'm thinking about Global Gate or, to start something like that. And so there's always a new challenge I'm putting in front of myself. And I think it just, I have to have a lot of balls in the air to feel comfortable. It's kind of like what I was saying earlier also about, being more at peace when I'm in a crowded environment. I just need to have a lot of things going on and a lot of stimulus. That's part of the ADD nature of my way my brain works. Who else inspires me? I mean, there are artists that inspire me, and musicians, and there's a lot of. My wife inspires me. She's a much better person than I am, and so it has to keep me trying to be a better person every day.
Can you share us an example?
Oh, my wife is the most caring, empathetic person I've ever met. To a fault. I think anytime you're something to a certain degree, it works both ways. But I can be very, I don't know what the word is, gruff, or I could be very aloof, and she protects me. She understands that's just who I am and the way I am. There are people who would, in certain moments, might feel that I was rude, without an intention of me being rude. It's just because my brain is working differently.
Yeah.
And she's able now, after so many years, to balance me and correct me, talk to people, and I like that. I like surrounding myself with protectors because I can be very, and again, go back to childhood, right? I could be very difficult. I realize it. So I think a big part of, I don't think you can control it, but a big part of is understanding where it's coming from, and then to surround yourself with people who can, fill those gaps. And so Edward Allen was exactly like that. Edward also, nobody will say a bad word about Edward anywhere. Lots of people will say bad words about me. But again, I think the people that really get to know me know that I don't hold grudges. I can get angry, or I could be very emotive, but okay, I said it, I'm done. I'm very on the surface. Like there's nothing, I don't hold. I mean, sometimes you have to have some discretion, but it's plain. I am who I am.
No, I understand your personality. Like, I love what you say about your wife, about you like to be surrounded by protectors. But yeah, like they don't judge your personality. They understand why you are like that, but doesn't mean because sometimes you can sound like tough or something, doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm a bad person. And I don't think, I mean, in my own mind, like I've heard that there are people are afraid of me, in the work environment. And I can't understand it at all. Now, maybe it's because I don't hold, I hold back, right? I don't try to soft speak anything, but I don't understand people being afraid of me, but I've heard that. And so Edward, again, somebody who can balance me that way. He's my work wife.
That's so funny. Oh, yeah. But no, I do understand. Because you remind me, my father was like that, like, oh my God, tall, and it could be like tough, and he had a strong voice, and I'm not yelling at you, I'm just talking to you, but you can feel like,
well, that happens to me all the time. My wife will say, stop yelling. I'm saying, I'm not yelling. I can yell. You want to hear me yell? It's more that I'm animated, and I'm emotive. And so, and I'm big, so it comes out as if, but I don't, yeah, I've yelled before, but.
And before what you said about like when you were working at Lionsgate and about John, you mentioned, right? I'm sorry. I think because you think outside of the box, and that's where you are able to work but when you are in a corporate, when they're just like, okay, you have to be Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, and you are not allowed to think. And in your lunch break, you have to do this and blah, 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 and check emails, and you feel stuck on a desk and you don't have time to be creative. So I feel.
Yeah. Again, it's like, you learn every day and you learn more about yourself every day. And I can't say I'm trying to improve myself. I think the battle for me is to accept myself. Because there's no bigger critic in the world than myself, on myself. So it's less about trying to be, improve myself and more just trying to accept that's the way I am. Here I am. I don't worry. I try not to worry if I offend people or if they think I'm rude. I'm like, I've got great network of friends and family and colleagues. And if people want to take the time, they'll get to know me and I think we'll understand it. And I what's interesting, and I think working with the Mexicans was really, interesting because culture, people do things very differently. People are not as direct there as I am. Mm-hmm. And so I miss the messages all the time. Like they're coded messages. Oh, this is what he means when he says that. Well, I just say it, And so I've had difficulty navigating that. The people that I've worked with over there, they may not have understood me at the beginning. I had a nickname that they gave me.
Which one?
Bulldozer. And, because I just cut through everything and get to the point and, close the deal or whatever. And so I think if you talk to my friends at Televisa or the friends I've made in Mexico, I think they've come to appreciate me. And understand that's just who I am, which is hard for them too, because that's not their culture. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like I say, learning all the time, but I am who I am.
No, but I like that. Like, yeah, why do we want... Life is too short. And in this industry, time is money. So why do you want like a whole email with blah, 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 just to say something like, no, we don't want the deal, or thank you for the offer, whatever it is, but you don't need like...
Well, it's even worse than that because there won't even be an email. There's just no response.
Oh.
Or no return of a phone call or no, and typically, I mean, I've learned to understand that they're not being rude. That's just the way their culture is. If they don't have an answer or the answer is no, they're not going to respond. So for me, if I was trying to get an answer from my boss or get whatever, I'd send him back. I need to talk. I need to, talk about it internally and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
But I return emails and I return phone calls.
Yeah.
And there it was much more of a process of, and then you call, and look,
they're busy.
I understand that, just like they have to understand when I get animated or whatever, it's not personal and that's who I am. And, that I understand also that that's the way they are as well. And, but yeah, it's not easy.
No,
not easy.
Not easy, but as we said before, or we heard this phrase before, like, don't judge a book by the cover.
That's right. Well, I think that's the history of me. if people want to, and I say that, that's why like I said, the battle is accepting myself and understanding that, if they want to judge me, the book by the cover when they deal with me, that's okay. I can't do anything about that. If I had to live my life, and I say this all the time, if I had to live my life worrying what people think about me, I would be miserable. Because, most of the time it's not intentional. It's not my intention. And so when people put an intention on me, oh, this person's rude and that wasn't my intention. It's just the way I'm wired. I could get really upset there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So it's really about accepting those things. And like you said, it's like, if people don't like me, okay. I mean, I am who I am. They don't want to take the time to really get to know me. That's okay. I got lots of friends, lots of family, lots of colleagues. Life will go on.
Yeah.
Maybe that sounds a little flippant, but like I said, if I worried about those things, I'd be worrying all the time.
Yeah, you will be living under stress. If life were perfect and we were smiling all the time, I will be like another world, but doesn't exist. Like, we all have issues. Sometimes we're having a bad day, and because we didn't say good morning one day, it doesn't mean like we're bad people. We're just sometimes in our own world trying to figure out our problems or whatever. Like,
yeah, or your head is in the clouds, wherever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's me. My wife's not like that.
But that's good.
And good for her, and sometimes too much. So, like, care about everything and everybody too much. But look, my wife and I'll have to continue to work through that. My wife of 30 years, so one success in my life.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. And what is something that you do every day that is not negotiable?
Well, that I do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said, if we were talking 6 months ago, meditate, but I haven't been as consistent as I'd like to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned, and again, it's not an everyday thing, but I mentioned, like, when I was studying in school, or when I was, if I was in a head place, right, where I could be creative and write music, I put my work aside and gave it priority, because it's so fleeting and so rare and exciting that you can create something that you have to give it that time when it's that time. But on an everyday basis, right now, I don't think there is anything that really, I mean, there are things that take priority in my life, right? So, I do Pilates twice a week. Middle of the day, I go out and do Pilates. And sometimes I'll miss because I have a meeting that can't be moved, or I'll reschedule. But I'm consistent about doing that. I'm consistent. I'm a basketball fan, a UCLA basketball fan. So I watch UCLA. So I'll plan my travel around when the games are, or I'll plan to go to a game, and so I give it a priority because I love it. And what else do I give priority to?
Drinking coffee.
Yeah, I drink coffee every day. And it's really interesting. Again, I didn't drink coffee. I didn't drink, and I didn't drink coffee as a in my teens and 20s. So, I mean, I drink a little bit alcohol, but really didn't drink. I didn't sit well with me. And I didn't drink coffee because I would get the jitters,
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Europe and everything changed. I started drinking lots of wine, and then started drinking liquor. And I was still drinking decaf. And at a certain point, and I don't remember when it switched to caffeine, and now I drink so much coffee. And I used to love, at the beginning, the rush that coffee gave me, that I could drink coffee. But it was after, like, the first half hour that I get jittery. Now I just drink coffee all the time. And it's, because, again, you're trying to get that, as an ADD person, you're trying to get that stimulation. So your brain can operate at its most effective. So yeah, I drink coffee every day. When
did you start meditating, and how do you hear about it? Someone reached out to you, hey, Paul, you're having what's going on in your life? You should have you think about meditation?
My wife was in my ear about meditation for a long time and thinking I should meditate. And I it wasn't that I wasn't interested. I didn't think I could do it. Like, again, with an ADD mind that's constantly flipping back and forth and whatever, I didn't think that I could meditate. And I guess it was a year and a half ago, not even 15 months ago, 16 months ago, I was having some health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a retreat at the Canyon Ranch in Tucson to take care of my health and to change my lifestyle. And while there, one of the, you did different activities in different, learning about different things and working with a therapist and, to what things you need for you. And so you pick these, okay, I'm going to go and do meditation. Let's see what this is. And, I go into a room with a woman and she's talking to me about meditation. And before long, I realized we were meditating. And I think that I have one of my, again, I'm never satisfied, right? There is I need to accept that I'm striving for perfection. Mm-hmm. And that's not what meditation is about. Meditation is not about not thinking about anything and being perfect at it. Meditation is the practice of when your mind goes somewhere, because that's what the mind does, to be able to bring it back. And so when I started learning about that, I started really appreciating meditation. And I did it every day religiously for 9 months or so. And now I do it. I mean, I'd like to say I do it 4 times a week, but some weeks I'm doing 2 times a week. I need to do it more. Sometimes I'm like, I need to meditate. And I need to get back into doing it every day because I think it's really calms me. But again, it brings up the situation. I mean, there's a sickness in wanting to do everything perfectly. Bit of OCD and so I've injured myself multiple occasions working out because I need to, if I don't feel the pain, if I'm not working out hard enough, I'm not working out hard enough. I'm not working out. So, when part of what I learned also on that retreat is like, you just need to work out to this level. You don't need to, kill yourself. And, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to, when I do my routine, my Pilates routine, if for some reason she skips one of my elements, I'm like, no, I got to do it. All of our other clients are happy not to do it. And I'm like, no, and if I only did 8 instead of 10, because I could only do 8, and it's smart to stop because you don't want to hurt yourself. Yeah. I have this annoying tug in me to finish. Like I said, I never felt like I studied hard enough. I never felt like I did well enough. I still don't feel like I'm successful enough. I mean, I'm again, you get to an awareness where that's me, that's me. That's why I say you got to get to a level of acceptance. I think that's the biggest challenge for me is that, there was a moment in my life and I was cognizant of it where I thought to myself, and I don't remember what I was thinking about. I was just thinking about my life or my career or doing something and literally kind of got to the root of it, which was I felt that if I'm not the best in the world at something, I don't know why I'm here. That's sick. But I mean, literally, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not here to, I need to be, I want to be the best in the world. Like, I can't understand Olympic athletes who go to the Olympics and don't win the gold medal. Like, but, just just going through an experience is amazing. So like, I can intellectualize and think, well, yeah, I mean, it's just amazing what these people do and whatever. But for me, there was a there's a piece of me that is, I need to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not healthy.
It's not.
But, you're trying to figure out, what drives somebody.
Yeah. And when
you can never live up to that standard.
Oh,
So you always feel like you're, cheating everybody and whatever, it's just.
Like people call it right now. Right now, it's super common, this, the impostor syndrome.
Yeah.
So, but not before. Like we felt like that, but we didn't know there was that definition.
Yeah, we've now tagged it, and then for me to find out that other people thought that, was kind of enlightening. That other people felt imposter syndrome.
Huh.
Yeah.
But when you said, okay, when you feel like a failure or like the imposter syndrome is in your head, do you also think people see you that way? Like,
no, I think I'm fooling them.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. I think if they really, look at how I'm fooling these people. It's like I told you, like my friends in law school would say, "Oh, Paul studies all the time," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fooling all these people." Right. And so, it's not about, I'm not saying, oh, they see through me. I'm like, they don't get it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I've evolved, right? I've evolved to a place where intellectually I can understand it and see, how invalid and how destructive destructive in a way, those types of thoughts. At the same time, it's what drives me. So it's almost like I'd rather have that chip on my shoulder, I would rather have people doubting me,
Mm-hmm.
and, I don't know if this is an interesting conversation, but
it is.
When I used to play basketball, I wouldn't want to play for the best team. I want to play for the underdog and win as the underdog. It's not fun to win as the best team, so you go to the gym and they pick the teams and whatever. And I don't want to be on the team that, we're going to slaughter these guys. That's not fun. It's better to be on the other team and to somehow beat them.
Always
it's a
looking
bigger challenge.
Yeah.
Feel like you've accomplished something. It's no accomplishment when, you win by 30, 50, 70 points or whatever,
Wow. No, and I understand now everything about the imposter syndrome, and but I hope you feel better right now. Like, I hope you starting to celebrate yourself.
I do. And I do. And I have to sometimes be reminded of, what we did was amazing and a huge success. I need to sometimes be brought back down to, it's an ongoing struggle. But I think awareness of it is a big piece. A lot of people I imagine who I want to use the word suffer, but who are like that can't get the awareness that, well, this is in your head. This isn't real life.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think that now. It's still hard to pull yourself out of it.
Yeah. Okay. And when you see a boy, you look to feel it. Can you tell us a little bit about your process and how you developed that skill?
I don't know. It's magic. I can't explain why I may be working and realize there's a certain void in the marketplace, or nobody's going this direction. It just happens. And again, it's kind of like writing music. I don't know where it comes from. It's not like I'm going to go down and say, well, sometimes I've done that where I'm going to do this, or this, but usually it's just like, And so I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. I think it comes from a brain that's working all the time. That's always on, switching and going, so that there's an innumerable amount of notions and ideas that come unintentionally.
But when you have an idea, I want to understand your creative process.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have an idea, what do you do? Like you start writing down or a computer or?
No, none of that.
What do you do?
Well, we would talk about it in the work environment, right?
Work and everything.
On the work thing, I'll probably communicate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll call a colleague, I'll call Edward Allen, or I'll call Jim McNamara and say, I'm thinking this. And then I'll be testing it with people. So I'll reach out to different people. And even now, since my career is shifting, I have some ideas. And what I've been spending the time since I left the company doing is talking a lot to people about my ideas and things that are coming in my head and see what the response is, right? And to try to test these ideas. So that's kind of my process on the work stuff, is just talking to people about things. I don't tend to write things down unless I put an email, but it's not like, because I know if I write something down, I'll never look at it again. I mean, I don't have the patience or the attention to read a lot. Mm-hmm. Now, that said, I obviously send emails and I put my ideas down. So, in a music, I used to have like a little cassette recorder. I could push the button and record stuff. So I've got all these tapes. I found a tape a few months ago and found a song I wrote about my wife when I moved to Europe before we were married. And I had forgotten completely about the whole thing, right? So how many of my songs have I forgotten? And they will die with me, because they're nowhere. Most of them. Some of them have been recorded, but and now I have like voice note on my phone. So sometimes I'll think something, I'll capture it and put it on a voice note. I need to go through my voice notes, right, to get to start again, to pick it back up, because I'll typically do it and then it'll be gone. So yeah, that's kind of it. But I'm not a big, in school, I was a huge note taker, but the point of taking the notes was to remember it. Like I went through it again when the exams came up. I shouldn't say, I mean, that's kind of how I studied, but I'm not big on documenting everything.
No, but I like it because you have the idea and you're like, okay, let's see if it's gonna work. I'm gonna share with my business partners. And if it's not, okay, let's move on, let's kill it, and we go to the next one. But yeah, like some people, we write what we want, but also feel like we're doubting about ourselves. So it takes us more time to present the idea to people.
I don't doubt myself. I mean, it's a huge contradiction to be striving for perfection, to have impostor syndrome, and to have a huge amount of confidence. So I've always felt that. It's there's this contradiction, a paradox between what I feel, how I feel, I'm not achieving enough, I'm not doing whatever, and then also to be super confident. And I don't know how that I don't know what to do. I don't know how that works, but that's how it is. I wouldn't say I'm overconfident, but I'm confident in my ideas, my thoughts. And at the same time, I'm like, but it's partially just thinking you're not working hard enough to actually do those things and get them done. And the reality is, I might come up with some great ideas, and there are things we're working on now. And I won't even say working about it, I say thinking about it. But it was great to think about something. Then somebody's got to do the work to get it done. So we can talk about launching Pantaya and like, okay, we need to do this, we need to do that. But, it's a huge endeavor. So you need money, you need lots of people who have specialty skills, and, I don't have the I'm the realization that I don't have the ability anymore to do the work, if that makes sense. So like if you were going to, I used to do the work, have to, now I just want to think, have the ideas and have people do the work. So I guess I've gotten to that point in my career, but as we're starting over again, leaving the company, I have to find a situation where I have great people working for me, because that's it. I mean, I can't do it.
But it's teamwork. That's the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yes, in the past you did it, but right now, if you start something, whatever the project you are going to start, people would like to work with you. It's like a puzzle, finding the right people.
Yeah, and I think that's right, and I think it's also. I spent a good part of my career prior to Pantaleon and after leaving the big studio doing too much, because not wanting to miss an opportunity. Mm-hmm. In other words, somebody comes and tells you, I'll help you with that. And you're helping them and you're spread way too thin because you're helping you have 15 projects going on and you can't do any of it really well, but you don't want to say like, I got to get rid of this, or I got to get, simplify the stuff I'm working on, because what if it works and then you're not part of it, or, and so that's a challenge. And I can see that could creep in, because as you said, lots of people are coming to me with ideas and want to work with me. And I have to be able to say, I'll make an introduction for you, but it's not something I can spend my time on. But it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard. I mean, that's the hard thing, is trying to realize that's the biggest challenge right now, is to, when you get to my age and where I am, that if you're going to do something that's and it's going to be something entrepreneurial, I'm not going to go work for a big company, that you make the right choice. Because, I failed enough to realize the failings, and time is not, I don't have the same amount of time I had when I was in my 40s. I like the next thing I do has to be, I want it to be successful. You always want it to be simple, but it's not like I can say, oh, well, it doesn't work, I'll just do something else. It's like, it's got to be the right thing. So that's the challenge.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Before we move forward, I forgot to ask you something about meditation. How do you feel? Okay, so when you meditate, mm-hmm. do you really, you say you thought it wasn't for you, but what was the process? And yeah.
Well, again, I think I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think it wasn't for me. I mean, I did think it wasn't for me, like to try to silence my brain or try to focus on my breathing or whatever. Like, peaceful things. I might romanticize about certain peaceful things, but I want to blow my brains out, We go on vacation to Switzerland and it's beautiful, but okay, it was beautiful for a day. Now what? I want to be in the city. I want to be, so meditation is more sitting in that field. So I do guided meditation. So there's somebody who's talking to you. And then as they talk, then as you get deeper and deeper, the spaces in between the talking become longer. And again, the practice is, I just realized I was thinking about the appointment that I have later or whatever. That's okay. Let it go. Okay, mm-hmm. Goodbye thought, and come back to where, your breath or where you are. So, and as soon as I understood that the goal is not to be perfect, everything is, I think that's that's the problem with me, is I don't do anything in moderation. And that's kind of, if I could do anything better in my life, it would be to do things in moderation, right? So I'm either, so when I drink coffee, I want it as strong as I possibly can. If I drink liquor, I don't add soda or anything. I drink liquor. I mean, that's just like with that too. But it's like, and like some people are like, oh, it's too sweet. I can only have one bite. Like I could eat a whole tub of ice cream without stopping. I could eat, if something, the sweeter, the better. Now I have to avoid sugar because that's my challenge. But there's nothing that I would do in moderation. Just like I said, I'd play basketball till I hurt myself, or I lift weights until I hurt myself. Like I need to be able to just accept, oh, I just worked out like with half the weight that I used to do. And, it's still a workout,
Mm-hmm. It still counts. Yeah. Still benefits your body.
That's it. And it's understanding. And again, on the retreat, learning, it was a lot talking about eating and whatever. It's like, don't deny yourself everything. Just, everything in moderation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's hard for me.
Moderation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, the key to, don't beat yourself up if you have a bad meditation session. Okay. Do it better next time.
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, that's, so just always striving to do things better, but that's also, maybe just accept it is a better way to think about it.
But okay. But do you feel good when you meditate, even if it's 1 minute or 5 minutes when you close your eyes? What is the feeling after that?
Yeah, no, I like the feeling after.
Because I understand it's hard to close your eyes and put away the thoughts.
Yeah, it's hard. I think the thing that's happening more, which I need to get a handle on, is basically falling asleep, because you're not supposed to fall asleep.
Fall asleep all the time.
A lot of times when I want to meditate, it's because I'm feeling I just need to, and really, I'm just really tired. So I will meditate. So I realize I'm probably meditating for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then I'm sleeping for 10 minutes, but okay. I mean, I can't.
If the feeling is good at the end, that's
I guess.
I fall asleep too. How did you cope with rejection?
It's a good question. It's painful. I don't want to say not well, but I mean, look, I'm here today. I take it as a challenge, I guess. Yeah. I can't say I learn. I like, I need to learn from this. I just want to try harder.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I cope with rejection? I'm not sure I do. I mean, I've been rejected by women, by people, by, life. But it's such a good question. How do I cope with it?
I can share an example.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
I've been rejection many times. Mm-hmm. Like every week I get an email rejection for looking for jobs.
Yeah.
Depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I get really upset. I'm like, I have the skills and blah, blah, blah. And then the other day, I don't care. I will continue applying. Or some days I cry. Or some days I feel down and I watch a comedy to laugh. Because that's my, comedy works for me.
Okay. So I would say music, but not listening, playing and writing. My son was rejected. What was he rejected from? I think he's been looking for a job. He had a day where he got rejected from job, like 3 or 4 things that just didn't work out for him. Honestly, I feel more pain for my children and their rejection now than I do even for my own. That's, I guess, being a parent. It's very painful because I don't like to see them hurting. But what I said to Sasha was, Valerie and I were in Europe, I think, when this happened. And I said to him, well, but he's a musician, and I said, go write, go play. This is what I would do. I would go. I mean, you're never in a more vulnerable place and open to being creative. I sometimes think, I stopped writing for a long time until I had, they say artists have to suffer, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that's true. There are plenty of artists who tell you it's not true. But for me, certainly, I could intellectually create. But I mean, while you're suffering is much easier. And it was I don't know if it made me feel like that makes me feel better. But, look, you keep going. That's how I say, cope with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you don't get over it. There's several regrets or things in my life that I'm still, if I spend any time thinking about,
you get the feeling again.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
No, but it takes time. It takes time. It's not, maybe for some people when you will be all right. It doesn't work like that. It takes years. It takes months. For some people, one day.
Well, yeah, and I think I went through. Again, you are an experience of your family and where who you grow up with and all, and I had a father who was very dismissive of suffering because of what he went through. So the constant refrain from my father would be, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, and in a sense, for him, he's alive, or he survived without parents, and he, everything that he went through. I understand now why I said it, but I don't, not probably the most healthy thing to say to a child. Though, I wouldn't change anything. It is what it is, and it probably. But yeah, that was that's hard. Yeah, I don't know how to cope with rejection.
Yeah. No, you did. You think you don't know, but you do it through art, through music.
Yeah, but I don't know if I do that now as much. I mean, growing up and when I was young, I was much more emotive, and suffered things more. Time. I don't know. Talk to people. Your friends.
That's a good one.
Talk it out. I do a lot of that.
Oh. That's good. Yeah, talking with friends is always good. Or
the right ones, because there's forever, whatever the rejection or problem is, me talking to my wife about it may not be the right person to talk about it, because she's not going to understand. If it's a work thing that was some rejection or whatever, and I don't want to have to. You want to have a shorthand with somebody that you're talking about that understands the players and understands the people, and that type of a thing, so that you can work through it quickly.
Yeah, I like what you say when you talk with friends, but the right ones. And you're 60 years old, and you have to cut people out of your life.
Not yes and no. It's not like I make a conscious decision. In fact, there are people you just stop. You just stop calling, and you stop. And then what's interesting is when they come back into your life, you go, oh yeah, that's why, because you forget. And I have people like that who, for a certain moment you were with them or talking to them all the time, and they had something that didn't work for you. And then later on you reconnect with them and you're so happy to reconnect with them. And then after a couple conversations or whatever, you're like, oh, right. If I do that, this is what this person requires of me. And it's not, I don't want that in a relationship. It's hard, right? But, I think that it's just, it's about frequency, right? So all of a sudden, if you're not enthused about somebody, you just start talking to them less frequently. Like, I've never made a decision. I don't want to be your friend anymore. Like, I'm trying to think if that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
As opposed to me just saying, yeah, it's like, I don't have that conscious decision. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah. You start, yeah. It's not important. I'm not going to answer that text and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the worst advice you have been given?
The worst advice. I was in a constant battle with John Feldheimer about my career and what I was doing, and that I was not focused on a job, on a role. Again, I wanted to be a part of the biggest things. I wanted to be in the room. I didn't want to be out of the room, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And what used to come through was, there aren't jobs there are not very few jobs like that. I think he has that job, but there are very few jobs where you're not, this is what you do. Here's your job. And it just was never going to work for me. So I don't know if it was bad advice. It's probably good advice for somebody. It wasn't the right advice for me, and I didn't listen to it. I didn't listen to it. And so there was a lot of back and forth on that type of a thing. At the same time, you get a lot of appreciation, and you know that you're being supported in a way. And at the same time, it's like, why are you doing all these 15 things? Focus, So I don't know if it's bad advice, but didn't take it. What other advice that I had that was bad advice? I'm sure there's times people told me, you should do this or do that. Nothing's coming to mind. It's not. I'm sure there's many.
Or did somebody call you, Paul, you're crazy about this idea, and then you created it and it was like, oh, okay, you were not crazy, or something like that?
For sure. I mean, it happens. It happens with specific projects a lot. And it may be that they think you're crazy because of the risk you're taking. They may think you're crazy because they don't want you to do it for some other reason.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've had success where people were like, we'll see how our musical does. I mean, people tell me that was crazy. Okay. Well, my feeling is like, you can continue to do the same thing and not challenge yourself and not, I have no doubt that the movie would work really well in a pre-COVID environment with the right amount of cash support, behind the marketing. I have no doubt. Obviously more challenging these days, and also making sure you have the right support. But like I said, I'm not afraid of risk. So,
Mm-hmm. After all these years, what keeps you going by continuing to creating new ideas, all the companies? What would you tell the people who are watching us right now? What's a secret ingredient when creating a new business?
What keeps me going? I just can't imagine not moving forward, not trying to do something. People say, oh, do you want to keep working or whatever? And part of me is like, oh, I just want to stop. I'm like, I'm tired. I just want, but I know I'd be miserable if I'm not in the game, whatever that game is, right? And so it's not really a consideration for me to stop. And just keep going. What was the second part of the question was,
like a secret
what was
ingredient.
the secret? What's the secret? What is the secret? Well, I would say the secret is to make sure that you have strong partners. That if there's weak links, it's too hard. It's too hard to start a business and to be successful if you have weak links. And you find as you go through it, the people that work for you or the people that work alongside you, and it's the right fit. Like, I don't need another person like me. That wouldn't be helpful, because I need somebody to get down and do things, right? Because I am who I am, right? So to have like 3 people like me, we'd run around getting nothing done. So I think I think that's a big piece of it, the right partners. And so it's both from, who your partners are, or employees or colleagues. And it's also, setting up a joint venture with Televisa and Lionsgate. You had good partners who fulfilled roles that were very different, but very integral to the success of the business. And without one or the other, there was no business. It wasn't a company that we could go and take out of those partners, right? Because they were providing certain services and certain resources to us that you couldn't replicate on your own. So I think that's a big part of it. The other thing is, I think that, I used to think that if you had a great idea and you had made some headway with it, you'd be able to, you basically, if you're launching like a content business or whatever, you needed content, you needed distribution, and you needed money. And if you had any two, you would get the other things. Certainly if you had money and distribution, you could go buy content. Mm-hmm. If you had money and content, you go work on distribution, get it. If you have distribution and content, you still may not get money. So let's be clear that the biggest challenge in starting a new business is capital. Mm-hmm. I've been in lots of businesses, great ideas. We put some of the pieces together, had a framework, whatever, and couldn't raise money. Mm-hmm. And it could be the wrong time to raise money. I mean, I've launched businesses also at the wrong moment. So timing is a big thing. So the idea is a good idea, but not today. Yeah. It was either a good idea yesterday or it's going to be a good idea tomorrow. I believe in my ideas, but timing is a big part of it. And I think money, like when I think about what am I going to do next, I don't want to go into a situation. I don't, like, people say, oh, you should get into, let's start this new company and whatever, we'll go raise money. Like, oh God. I want to figure out what I can do that, with money, because to me, it's also the part I least understand. I could build a business. I could be successful if somebody's providing me the fuel. Yeah. If I'm not, going and getting that fuel is that's rejection, frustration, difficult. And there are people that are really good at that part. That, you've seen people in Hollywood who resurrect themselves and continue to raise money. Some of them, even after they've gone bankrupt, and they go back and they find somebody else. And it's a gift. It's a skill, raising money and getting people to commit to you. Yeah. And the question, and I don't have the answer, but the question is, whether, given the success we've had, right, with these things, whether or not it'll be different now, that money will be available to do something. Like, I don't want to do the same thing. Like, lots of people say, okay, now I'm going to start a new Pantaleon or a new Pantalla. I don't want to do that. I want to do something different. I mean, it'll be in content, it'll be in distribution, it'll be something, right? Or maybe, I don't know, but it won't be exactly the same. So, but I hope, well, fingers crossed, that, our reputation and what we've done is attractive enough that, we'll attract good partners, because that's everything. It's the only way you'll be successful.
Oh, well. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And before we move forward, so when I like what you said, like looking for the right partners, but how, or when you have your business partners, you have conversation about, this is my responsibilities and these are yours, and don't cross the line, or something like, I haven't, yeah.
I'm sure some people have those conversations. I don't. Did
you?
No.
No. Okay.
I don't remember having conversations. Like I said, I mean, there, when we were putting these things together, there wasn't even a notion that I would be the CEO or that I would run it,
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like, this stay in your lane, I mean, to me, and I think the great thing about Pantaleon, less so Pantalla, because by the time we got to Pantalla, we were in the middle of a pandemic and people weren't coming into the office as a team. But at Pantaleon, for the first 6, 7 years, whatever, I said, like, you want to be in the room? Everybody was in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all rowing in the same direction. And I think that's why people, I think, will, later on in their career will say, wow, that was a great experience, because we needed everybody. We needed everybody, and we needed more than everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Because we were staffed so thinly and with people without experience. And we were just finding our way and trying to figure it out. But I think everybody got a view that was different, than they would get going and working for a big company.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like I said, picking good partners, they weren't working for a big company, but we had the backing of 2 companies. As opposed to, let's start this on our own and we'll go try to raise money to do this. That'd be very daunting. And then, the first film doesn't do well and they shut you down. Mm-hmm. There was you needed to have some runway. And I think when you're starting businesses, most businesses don't get off the ground because they don't have enough runway. So.
Mm-hmm. What book or movie or song would you recommend that changed something about you?
What did you say? Book, movie, or song?
Book, movie, or song, or video, anything.
Yeah, I don't read, so. Not much. I used to read. I mean, I can read, but it's hard. I changed me.
Changed something about you, or
the way you think about something.
You got, like I can tell you, like for example, when I read a long time ago, Memoirs of Geisha, mm-hmm. I was like, oh my God, that was the life of this lady. I mean, it's based on a true story and blah, blah. But that movie got something. Or there's another movie.
Touched you, or
exactly.
Inspired you. Or,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I would gravitate towards music. I mean, I can't pick any one song. There are songs that I think are, I mean, I'm always looking for perfection. Mm. And so there are songs that I think are close to perfection. And, I spend a lot of time at night before I go to sleep to wind down. And I watch reaction videos, videos. I got hooked on reaction videos. And what it is I think why it's so exciting for me is watching the younger generation discover music that touched me for the first time and seeing the reaction to it. And it's just so amazing to me. Like, you know, people who have never heard the Beatles ever, you know, and it may sound, you know, for a certain generation, though, who are the Beatles? But for me, it's like part of my growing up, you know? And so, you know, having them, listening to them or watching them listen to, you know, Here Comes the Sun, which is to me a perfect song.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a perfect song. So to watch them react to that song and be and just like emotional about it, like to me, it's like, oh, that's so I do it. I do that 5 nights a week. I go watch people listen to my favorite songs.
Okay. And what about that one? Here Comes the Sun. So when you listen to that one, what memories brings you?
Well,
or
yeah,
do you close your eyes?
Yeah, I think it brings me back to my childhood. Like, you know, when the Beatles are part of my foundation of who, you know, when I was growing up, when I was young. I mean, they broke up. I was 7, I think, when they broke up. But throughout, you know, my early years, that's all the music we listened to. And that song particularly, I always loved. I mean, the guitar playing in it, and I was a guitar player. And it's uplifting. I mean, if you listen to that song and you listen to each of the instruments and the way they're playing, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, it's hard to say why something is. Sometimes a movie, like the story, you can go into that, but like for music, it's just the chemistry of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's one, and there are others, you know. The song "You've Got a Friend," Carole King wrote, and James Taylor won a Grammy for as well. I mean, again, I just think it's a perfect song. So lyrically as well as musically, and so watching people react to that is just that
brings you happiness.
Brings me happiness and relaxes me, and then I go to sleep. I mean, I think one of the hard things for me is going to sleep. It's quieting my mind enough to go to sleep. I hate laying in bed.
Well,
I like to hit the pillow and fall asleep very quickly. And so, I mean, again, you go back to the notion of doing things to extreme. So I want to be exhausted before I go to sleep. And so really, you probably shouldn't exhaust yourself that much. But it's like, there's nothing worse for me than tossing and turning in bed. I need to. And so if I have a flight or a meeting early in the morning, it sucks because I've got to go to bed earlier and I'm not tired. And so, I think people are either night people or morning people, and I'm a night person. I don't exercise in the morning. I don't do nothing in the morning.
Yeah.
And although I get up and go, right? So my wife needs 2 hours in the morning. I get my 2 hours at the end of the night, right? But I need something to like make me want to go to sleep. It's just like every night it's like a struggle to like, oh God, please make me tired so I can go to sleep and not have to lay there and try to go to sleep. Because again, I played golf when I was younger and I stopped playing. I was on the team in high school and I stopped playing. And why did I stop playing? I gravitated or enjoyed more sports where the harder you tried, like if I try harder, I'm going to do better. Golf's the exact opposite. You can't try harder at golf. You can practice a lot and you can relax and you have to get your mind in a certain, state. I like basketball and tennis and, where I could hustle, and if I tried harder, I could compete. So again, you can't try to go to sleep. You can't, okay, I'm going to try harder to go to sleep. That's not how it works. Sleep is like golf.
Okay.
Right? You kind of have to just let it be. So yeah. So at the end of the night, I'm trying to quiet my brain. And I found watching these videos, I could be just listening to music, but now I enjoy watching, other people be inspired by the music that inspires me. Anyway.
Yeah. But do you sleep 8 hours? You do?
Yeah. I for most of my life, I would plan. I needed 8 hours sleep. And I would plan, like, some nights, and I didn't feel well if I didn't have 8 hours sleep. So I would plan to have 8 hours sleep. It happens less now but I try.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get 8 hours of sleep. And sometimes then, like, I'll catch up and I'll have 9, right? But I think if I had to average it, I'm sleeping 50 hours a week, 50 something hours a week, I'm getting close. Somewhere between 7 and 8 hours.
Whoa. Well, before we move forward, I just want to say thank you for sitting with me and sharing all your experience and with us, all the people who are watching us.
Well, I hope it's not too boring, or that it's interesting, but
of course not. We're always learning, and this is a business 101.
Yeah.
An inspirational conversation. What would you like your legacy to be?
It's a good question, because, we just built something, and I'm really proud of what we built. And I think there is a legacy there, although, I think both companies kind of disappear within the VIX universe, right? So it's not going to be called Pantai anymore, and Pantaleon. I mean, the nice thing about Pantaleon is that there are movies with the logo Pantaleon that will live on forever, right? And so for me, it's always been about leaving something behind. And, that's, I think, why I wanted to be an architect early on. I mean, my dad was a landscape architect, but I was maybe going to study architecture. It was like you could design a building that would be there. And that's why I think art is so, whether it's a movie. So we've done movies that have my name on it. This musical, for example, we're super proud of that. And if it's successful. So my legacy.
Professional and personal, anything like if your friends, if we ask your friends about what do you think about Paul or what? Yeah.
My legacy. I feel loved, by my friends, by some of my colleagues, maybe all my colleagues. I really don't know, but I try to express it myself and to people. And I think, so, when I think about my legacy, again, it's about those things we created and that are going to last. Like I can't fathom doing something or being in a career or anything where you're gone. I mean, you would think, like, with the music that I've done, that I would make sure that it was all recorded to leave some kind of a legacy. It probably should at some point. But I don't know what the legacy. I mean, that's more from my family than anybody. But I think be a good person. If people can think of me the way I think about, my mentors, the people who influenced me, if people would say, I had this person in my life who helped me through problems or helped me in my career or inspired me, if I could do that, other than with my kids, but that I could do that, that's a great legacy. And like I said, I think we built something special. And it wasn't not just financially successful, but I said, the thing I'm most proud of is not we sold the company, okay, whatever. The thing I'm most proud of is, like, look at the people that work for us and where they are in their careers and where the opportunities will take them. And I think that it's really the thing I'm most proud of. Set.
You opened the door for many people.
I hope so.
You did.
Yeah, well.
You did. I know you're not going to see it right now because of your personality and everything we were talking, but you did.
Yeah.
And many people who are happy and we appreciate the opportunity.
I hope so. I hope so.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, thank you.